Prop-a-shot time, and these are markets that you can bet on DraftKings. Well, there's only 3 of us, but we got 4 footballs. So let's bring up Medium Show. Zach,
Medium Show.
Our crack researcher.
You can have a real football, too.
What? You're not giving him the run football?
No, he gets a real football.
All right.
Yes, here we go. Here's Medium Show.
You got to hit the board.
Oh! Medium Show.
First time.
There we go.
The only guy that has a 100.
1 and walking off and drops the mic.
158.3 passer rating right there.
Fantasy Football Pregame with Matthew Berry.
Further ado, we welcome you into Week 15 of Fantasy Football Pregame. Matthew Berry, George Savaricas, Jake Croucher, Lawrence Jackson. What are the Colts doing?
No, what are they? No. You're going too quickly, Director. No. Go back to those bar trivia standings. As they slowly pick. Yes.
Yeah. Let's pander to Matthew.
Yes. 107.52. Oh, my God.
I'm stunned. I'm that close to 500.
Jay.
I was about to say, I'm over 500 now.
Oh, my God. Look at those. Look at those beautiful standings. It's unbelievable.
Barry, not just the talent, but also the director. But the question was, what are the Colts doing signing Phillip Rivers when they could have signed Medium Show?
They should have.
After his performance last week, 1 for 1.
Very quick release, like C.J. Stroud. Bang.
That's what Phillip Rivers going to need today.
No, like rookie C.J. Stroud, not getting the yip C.J. Stroud. Yeah. Well done. All right, go ahead, George. I was gonna do your part.
You could transition into your toast like a seasoned veteran.
Like a seasoned veteran as well. So yes, of course, use the hashtag FFPregame if you want your questions answered. Of course, in the YouTube chat, we're gonna answer more questions than any other pregame show. It's the playoffs, and we're getting you a win today. And it is because of the playoffs. That is my toast. My toast is to Jackson Smith-Njigba, who, guys, I believe is the fantasy MVP as we enter into the playoffs today. I believe no player has been more productive at their ADP than Jackson Smith-Njigba. Obviously, Josh Allen's been amazing. There's been a lot of players that, Puka's been amazing as well. But considering where he was drafted and the production you've gotten out of JSN, you're my fantasy MVP. You're the real MVP. JSN, lead everyone out of the playoffs and to the championship.
Regulars saying, welcome back, Matthew Berry off IR. Since we missed you last week as full cheer dad.
IR.
Yeah, I was in, not all right. I was a cheer dad, and then back in the summer, when my wife and I and 2 other couples decided to book Zach Brown Band at the Sphere, we didn't think that the week before I would be in Orlando at the national cheer competition. So I've been in. I was telling Jen, our amazing makeup artist, I've been in 4 beds in 3 states in about a week and a half, and it's been a lot of travel.
Frisky.
Woe is me and our pal Medici here, and he's always cooking up some type of Sunday parlay. Barry had a Hangover movie experience in Vegas, plus 300. Barry ready to pitch a Hangover 4 script, plus 275. Barry thought he found Nemo's brother, but it was just a Vegas Pinot fever dream, plus 250.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with a lot of parlays. Medici hits 2 of the 3.
2 of the 3 legs.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 legs.
Close.
Become a staple of the show. Medici's parlay. Kick off. Put it in the rundown.
Well thought out tweet for me. My toast is gonna go to not the fantasy MVP, the old man MVP, Phillip Rivers, because damn it, the Colts believe that you're better than a rookie quarterback who's been there all season, all off season, training camp, all that stuff. Phillip Rivers coming back after 4 or 5 years on the couch, got a little dad weight on him now, going on the road versus the Seahawks. So Phillip Rivers, go out there and at least have yourself a day better than what Max Brosmer had when he went up against these Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we can pin Phillip Rivers' weight situation purely on being a father. I'm also a father. Phillip Rivers has got 50 pounds on me now.
Also got 12 years on you.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Yeah, I'll allow it. Didn't look great at the press conference is all I'll say.
No body shaming here. This is body positive on Fantasy Football Pregame.
Yeah, and by the way, Jay, much like you, who escapes your children by doing degenerate gambling, Phillip Rivers is escaping his children to go play professional football. You have that in common. You both ignore your children.
Yeah.
And the best meme I saw with Phillip Rivers, his NFL health insurance, was about to run out because it was 5 years. So he resets the clock by playing today another 5 years. That's
you got 13 of them.
He's got 10 kids. It's $5,000 a month.
Philip Rivers out here playing
kid.
chess while we're playing checkers. That's what he's doing. What do you got, Jay?
Indeed. Okay, well, talk of the fantasy MVP being Jackson Smith in Jigba. Yeah, I'll toast this one.
No, he's going right to the shots.
Blank anyway. But my toast is to the actual MVP, the literal MVP of the league, Josh Allen. I don't know much in this life, but I do know that Josh Allen is the best player in football. He gets to show that in the AFC East showdown today against Drake May.
Best player in football, but not the lead right now when it comes to the MVP race. My toast to Matthew Stafford, and what a game we have this week. Rams, Lions, Stafford facing his former team. 35 touchdowns, leads the NFL with 4 interceptions. They got a game total of 54.5, thinking a shootout. Rams get the win. Stafford has another big game. He could solidify his front-runner status with just 3 games to go.
I like it.
Okay, let's get right into it. These are the players who will be on the sidelines for Week 15. You're a Commanders fan. Why bring back Jaden Daniels, and then all that happens, Barry, is that he gets injured again. He's back in the sidelines where he probably should have been.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, because they don't listen to me. Well, everyone should listen to me. I have logic and smarts, and I said do not play Jaden Daniels, and they did, and he gets hurt again. And so I'm glad that he is out. He is the franchise. We do not need to risk him in a meaningless game. To me, the biggest one here is we expected a lot of these guys. You don't really care about any of those quarterbacks, honestly, except for Daniel Jones, which we'll talk about quite a bit. Mason Taylor and David Njoku out, but the big one, obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson rides again in his toughest matchup to date. So this will be a really interesting one to see if he can keep the magic going.
Players who are questionable, we got a couple Commanders, Chris Rodriguez Jr., Deebo Samuel. The name I'm focusing on, you got 2 big ones right next to each other, Devontae Adams, and then Christian McCaffrey, who was a late add to the injury report this week.
Yeah, no, and like, so they tweeted out, like, oh, he's been, anytime you see a player downgraded, it's nervous, especially going into a Saturday, and then when it's Chris McCaffrey, it's crazy. And then they quickly tweeted out, Adam Schefter, said, even though he's been added, he's expected to play. Other people have said that as well, Ian Rappaport as well. I'll just say that, the 49ers is the same team that said he was going to be fine for last year. And then he wasn't, and then he was going to miss week 1, and then he was going to only miss a couple of games, and he was going to come when he got off IR. He was going to be ready in week 5. And
my favorite thing that happened last year is that going into week 1, Christian McCaffrey was listed questionable in his game time decision. He didn't play for 2 months.
Right, it's unbelievable.
It was preposterous.
So,
Drax
anyway.
Tapper has this half-point PPR flex play. Harold Fannin in frigid Chicago, frigid an understatement for those game temps, or Jaden Reed in mild Denver.
I think it's Harold Fannin. I don't think people realize how good Harold Fannin has been over the last month and a half. He's a top 5 fantasy tight end. That's, by the way, I'm just going to ruin it for you right now. That's going to be one of my shots as well when we do shot for shot later. But no, Fannin has been nothing short of fantastic, and he's clearly got a connection, Lawrence, with your guy Shador.
Yeah, and it's good. He's going to get the targets. He's got them with every single quarterback that they've started this season. Jaden Reed looks solid coming back last week, but still, Christian Watson's emerged as the guy there. Fannin's the guy in Cleveland.
And you're going against Denver, and just like all those wide receivers, they always kind of cancel each other out. And the other thing is David Njoku's hurt, possibly not playing today, right? So we don't expect Njoku to play.
More than competent last week. So finally, with the Browns under center, you have a quarterback who can push the ball downfield. And Fannin had been doing this with Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
Fannin's had his 2 best, or he's definitely had his longest receptions since they made the quarterback change.
Apple X8846, hashtag FF Pregame. We're getting your questions on YouTube as well as Twitter throughout the show, getting our comments from the regulars. Need a flex, T-Mac or Hampton, PPR?
Yeah, I think it's Tirico McMillan. I get Hampton's my ride or die, but a really tough matchup here. They won't seem to commit to him over Kamani Vidal. That's going to shake itself out, and we'll get there here in a minute and talk a little bit more about the running back situation here. But for me, I have Tirico McMillan. I am at wide receiver 17. It's just, it's a decent matchup that doesn't scare you against the Saints. And so the amount of targets he's going to get, again, last week he got 1, but it was a 40-yard touchdown. So it's close, but I'm going to say Tirico McMillan there is the answer there.
It'll be interesting to see how the Chargers' backfield evolves going forward. If Marion Hampton not being the workhorse was just because it was first week back, or if Vidal has really carved out a role where it could be a 50-50 split. This question from Ryan, pick 3 full PPR, Tyrone, Sutton, Monungai, Hampton. 3 out of the 4.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, as much as I love him, you guys know I love him, but I'm going to sit Kyle Monungai of this one. Look, I get the question. Cortland Sutton probably going to see a lot of Pat Surtain, Hampton in a timeshare, Tyrone Tracy also in a timeshare, but Monungai also in a timeshare, and he's a timeshare against the Cleveland Browns defense, which is usually a pretty good run defense. I get it. Tennessee ran all over him last week. I don't totally understand what happened there, but I'm believing that the Bears will play better this week against the run. So Monungai, who needs a touchdown to pay off because he's not involved in the passing game, is the guy that I would sit of those 3.
Congratulations to Ryan on your hair. Very well coifed. Profile picture on YouTube there.
Yeah, he's
very
well.
Hair respects hair.
Yeah, hair respects hair, as always.
Burning questions for Week 15 on Fantasy Football Pregame, and I'm flying to Chicago later today, so I have to get as close to the fire as possible because it is disgusting.
It's really, really cold
right now.
This is what it looked like in Vegas, by the way. That scene is what it looked like in Vegas because the rodeo was in town, like the National Rodeo.
Who doesn't go to Vegas for the rodeo?
It's massive. Everywhere we went, there were cowboys that were there for the rodeo. I want to go see it because everyone says it's just awesome. So next year, I think I'm going to try to get to that.
Then you could have a My First Rodeo shirt?
Maybe. So we quickly, as we were talking about the rodeo, we quickly got off all the ranks of this game. I'm not really sure why that happened. But
with that, we got the Chargers, who are big underdogs, even though they have the better record in Kansas City. Very desperate Chiefs.
It's so funny because every week the Chiefs, they firm in the market. They just get hammered by sharp money, and just everyone who is informed and betting the NFL just expects it to turn around for the Chiefs. Because a lot of the underlying stuff is really good on Kansas City. Yeah. They shouldn't be 6-7. They've lost every single close game.
The opposite of last year.
Yeah. I think that right now they are the 3rd, 4th, 5th best team in the NFL, and they're probably going to miss the playoffs.
In the NFL?
I think they're a top 5 team.
I could say,
top 3
I would say 5, 6.
Yeah, well, I think 7. The only team that's definitely better than them are the Rams.
Yeah.
But who is definitely better than the Chiefs outside of the Rams?
Yeah, they ain't just been going out.
Definitely better than the Chiefs?
They ain't just been going out there and getting smoked every week.
I would say Packers and Eagles, I think, are definitely
I
better
don't think the Eagles are better than the Chiefs.
Eagles is close.
Eagles aren't great. I think the Bills.
The Chiefs.
Patriots or the Bills.
The Chiefs don't have a great The Chiefs don't have a great defense. Their offense has been inconsistent. They can't really run. They can't really run the ball. They've got the best or second best quarterback in football. That's what they have.
Second best.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's the best quarterback.
That's what I'm saying, right? So they have the second best quarterback in football.
The crown is yours, Josh.
Yeah, no doubt. Proud Fantasy Life investor, Josh Allen. Yeah, Patrick, you get in on our cap table. Otherwise, sorry, you're second to Josh. And you might be falling below Joe. But Rashee Rice is, where are they elite? Rashee Rice is an elite talent. Obviously, Mahomes is Mahomes. I feel like
the offense is elite. I know it wasn't great against Houston.
Chris Jones has lost a step. I feel blah, blah, blah. Anyway, here's what I'll say though. So I've talked about this on the show before, but me and my buddy, we have a rule. We have this long time just betting rule that anytime after the first 3 weeks, anytime a team with a losing record is giving points to a team with a winning record, you take the team with a winning record, no questions asked. If a team with a winning record is getting points against a team with a losing record, you take the points with a winning team, no matter what, no matter how ugly it looks. I don't understand how the Chargers are 6-point dogs in this game. The Chargers have a winning record. Obviously, the Chiefs are 6-7. I get the whole narrative, but give me the Chargers plus 6 in this game.
I get it. Maybe not the spread that big, but
that's what I'm saying. Give me the Chargers plus 6. I don't know if the Chiefs may very easily win, but give me the Chargers plus 6 in this one.
We watched their offense.
I put that
Eagles
bet down
versus
this morning.
Chargers. Neither offense was good.
I agree. I would take if I had to pick, I'd take the Chargers plus 6 over the Chiefs minus 6. I do think that the Chargers, their offensive line is just completely untenable. They really should have lost to Philadelphia. They beat the Raiders, who are a fake team, and then the game before that, they lost by 29 points to the Jags. So it's this offensive line. It's not Herbert's fault.
And offensive line a mess as well. Patrick Mahomes had one of the worst games of his career. Front four was dominant on the and it's one of the best front fours in all of football.
Yeah.
Chargers also have a good defense.
But so here's how that affects fantasy, right? To bring it back to that, which is I think you're benching Justin Herbert 4 straight games with under 15 fantasy points. Week 9 was the last time he finished better than QB 17. He's had under 30 pass attempts in 5 of the past 6. So it's just like they're trying to run the ball. He's just under siege all the time. Even when he's running. I mean, last week he had 60 rushing yards, and he still wasn't a top 12 fantasy quarterback last week as well. If you think about who. Look, I have, in terms of the running backs for the Chargers, I have Hampton at 25, Vidal at 35. So I'm taking Omari Hampton. He's my ride or die, but I have him as a flex play. Like I think he's the better running back just on a pure talent basis than Kamani Vidal. I think he's got the better chance at a touchdown. But they like Kamani Vidal. They're still using him enough in the passing game that I think it does limit Hampton's. And the only pass catch of the Chargers that I'm even considering to start is McConkey.
Let's get to Sean's question. His first question here on Fantasy Football Pregame, #FF Pregame. Hey, guys, long-time listener, first-time commenter. Pick 2, Hampton, McMillan, JMO, or Wilson. Thank you for all the help, guys. #Produce Berries, Finding Nemo 2.
Thank you, Sean. You're damn right. Are you a film producer? Let's talk. You know what I should do is I should produce it with that Sora. You know, where you can just basically steal character. Yeah. And I think Sora just made a deal with Disney, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. In the meantime, I think the answer is the last 2 guys here, Jameson Williams and Michael Wilson. Again, we talked about McMillan a little bit, but the truth is he's still not getting massive volume. And I think that Rams-Lions game is going to be a shootout, so I think you want as much a part of that game as you can have. And then obviously, I get it, it's the Texans, but I just don't know how you bench Michael Wilson after the heater he's been on.
I think a lot of questions, if we get a lot of questions today that have to do with Michael Wilson, I think the answer is probably going to be Michael Wilson, because you're not going to ask Michael Wilson or Jamar Chase. You're not going to ask that question. Right. Yeah. So I think Michael Wilson's going to be a guy we're going to be saying a lot of Michael Wilson. So there you have it. We like him.
Yeah, Michael Wilson, by the way, set at 65.5 receiving yards on DraftKings, which is pretty high for someone going up against the Texans. Not expecting this insane streak to go on. That's not the norm. He's not going to put up like 130 yards on 15 targets every single game, but, 65.5 receiving yards against the Texans is
with a shot at a touchdown.
Yeah.
So you're benching Herbert. You guys agree with what Matthew was saying? As far as fantasy-wise, he's had 4 consecutive duds for the Chargers. Yeah. Basically, since Joe Alt went back on IR, was done for the season.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think with Herbert the thing is that he still has a broken hand, right? It's not ideal. It's not fantastic. You'd rather that not be the case. Now, the good thing is, I think for Herbert's value is that he was running a ton against the Eagles.
There you go, sporting some kind of brace on that broken hand.
Yeah, I think it's still going to... It's difficult to say it's going to limit him so much.
I don't think he'd limit him. Like you said,
it's more just it's a risk that he could aggravate.
He's not holding the bag with his left hand. He's holding the bag with his right hand. And he's got a backpack.
You know what? He gonna throw the football with his right hand too.
I know.
The only thing it could limit slightly would be how they call the game offensively. If he's going to have the same aggregation of snaps under center, or if they go under the gun a little more, just based on if he has any discomfort.
I mean, he was like handing off with his left hand against the Eagles, so it's probably not going to matter that much.
2 weeks ago, you saw him fully under center. Last week, it seemed like it was more back to normal against the Eagles. But yeah, he's a guy you really can't trust this part of the season, who had looked so good the first 8 or 9 games for the Chargers.
Yeah, he's lost both of his starting tackles. It's just not a great offensive environment now. He's at one point against the Eagles, he'd been pressured on 72% of his dropbacks. No one can exist in that context.
No. Yeah. Unless you're Justin Herbert somehow getting another win. Thank you, Jalen Hurts, with that one. Ryan McGlynn, help, my wife is rushing me out the door. Last chance before game start. We feel your pain. Uncle Rico or ride or die? She just doesn't get it.
Yeah, so Rico Dowdle or my ride or die, Omari and Hampton. I think the answer is Rico Dowdle here. It's close, and Hubbard definitely ate into to Dowdle's workload last week as well. But the Saints actually give up a lot of rushing touchdowns to running backs, and so I think Dowdle's got the better chance at a touchdown of those 2 guys.
Yeah, the Chubb is rising. There is no doubt that the Chubb is rising. Junior Chubbler. Yeah. But I agree. It's still Rico Dowdle. Very rare that the Panthers are favored in games. This is why I think 7-6 and being 2 weeks away from the NFC South title potentially.
Future NFC champion.
Just for whatever it's worth. Yeah, specifically.
Again, as I said last week, the NFC South should forfeit its spot in the playoffs to Notre Dame. I'm going to down this hill. I don't want to see either of those teams in the playoffs.
I don't think you want to see Notre Dame either play.
Yeah, it's true. But I just don't want to see Carolina face Seattle in round 1 of the playoffs. I'm sorry.
But it's going to be such a crime if you have, say, the Lions at 11-6 get left out for an 8-9 or 9-8 team from the NFC South.
It's so funny, though, because what's going to happen is the Bucs are going to sneak out the NFC South at 9-8, and then they're going to beat Seattle.
They're going to win a home game.
Yeah, and all of a sudden the Bucs are in the NFC title game.
That's the breaks.
That's how it all happens. But just to wrap that up, I have Dowdle at 20 and Hampton at 25. So there you go. That's how I see that playing out.
Good AFC matchup. Bills at 9-4. Who would have thought that they have the worst record coming into this game with the Patriots, who have been the story of the year, 11-2, yet the Patriots home dogs. Bills favored by 1.5, over under 48.5. Jay, how would you rank the New England backfield this week with Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson?
It's a very annoying backfield situation. It's like Mike Vrabel's being haunted by the ghost of Bill Belichick and how he used to run his backfield in New England with, what's his name, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, and Sony Michel, and all these different characters, all these ghosts of Christmas past in the backfield. But I think Travion Henderson still has to be ahead of Ramondre Stevenson. Even if Ramondre is perhaps the slight favorite to get more carries than Travion, I think that what Travion can do with fewer touches, with his explosivity, with his work in the pass game as well, I would still take Travion over Ramondre. But I think that even Travion ahead of Ramondre is still a low-end RB2, high-end flex type.
Yeah, Jay, you're 1,000% right. We see it the exact same way. So I have Henderson at 24. I have Stevenson at 30. So the last two games are when they played together after sort of Travion's breakout. And last week, Stevenson played more than Henderson. The first week back, Henderson played more than Stevenson. I don't know if it's a pass pro issue, if they just trust Stevenson more, maybe it's game flow, who knows. But over the last two games, Henderson's played 56% of the snaps, has 17 touches a game. Stevenson, 45% of the snap, 11 touches a game. And I think that's probably right. I agree with Jay that, if you're starting one of those two guys, I prefer Henderson just because I think he's got the bigger playability. I just think he's a better player, to be perfectly honest. I think he's got a better chance at a big explosive play. I will say that Stevenson, when they get in close, they'll likely give it to Ramondre Stevenson, even though Henderson has proven that he can convert in close. But Stevenson probably has the likelier shot at a 5-yard touchdown or a goal line carry here. But I think Henderson's 24, Stevenson's 30. You're right. So both low end, Stevenson is a low. Travion Henderson is a low-end RB2, high-end flex for me, and Stevenson is nothing more than a flex. Is how I see it. So we say it basically the same way, Jay.
Yeah. Got a question here popping up. Hashtag FF pregame. Pick one for full flex, Henderson or Diggs. Love the show.
Yeah, look, this one's close to me. So I think probably Henderson, just because of guaranteed touches. I will say, though, Diggs, the best game that Diggs had this entire year was against the Patriots. Against the Bills, his former team, hashtag revenge game. It was 10 for 124 or something, Lawrence?
12 for 146.
12 for 146.
I don't know why I know that.
Yeah, but it was
definitely the 146 is a definite.
Yeah, he doesn't score touchdowns.
The problem is he doesn't score touchdowns, and also, it's the Bills are now aware of it. They're going to do a lot against him, and so I think it's close. It's a little bit of a coin flip, but I'm going to go with Travion Henderson just because of the guaranteed touches.
Yeah, the Bills' run defense isn't fantastic. They can be run on. And also, the one thing with Diggs, though, is that the Patriots just haven't been in these wild throw scripts, high-scoring games all season. They've just been playing with the lead a lot because they're really good and they played a pretty easy schedule. You suspect that Drake May's going to need to be throwing in the second half against Josh Allen to keep up there. But, yeah, I would lean Henderson slightly.
Other sideline, Lawrence. Can you trust any Bills pass catchers in Ladin, Dalton Kincaid, who just made his return last week?
Yeah, I trust Bills pass catchers if they don't play wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. I trust the tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, even Dawson Knox
as his moments.
Over the receivers. James Cook, Ty Johnson, not receivers. Khalil Shakir has more than 60 receiving yards in a game just once in his last 6 games, and that's their top receiver right there. Keon Coleman hasn't had a game with more than 4 catches or 50 yards since week 1 against the Ravens, when we was like, oh, he here now. He ain't here. So do I trust them? No, I think Khalil Shakir is a desperation play at this point. Yep. Even with the high over-under, that's the only one you trot out there as a long shot flex play for Bills receivers.
Totally agree. He's my wide receiver 37. His touchdown last week was his first end zone target of the year.
Yeah.
And if you watch that play, it was he wasn't the first read. That was a Josh Allen scrambling around.
And it was just he threaded the needle, and it was just
Shakir was just the guy that was there. He wasn't it just. So, but I agree with you on Kincaid. I'm a tight end 10 this week. He leads all tight ends in yards per target, yards per route, and targets per route this season. And for at least 14 fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games. He's not playing full time, unfortunately, but when he's out there, they're throwing it to him.
Yeah. like last week.
When you guys do your week 1 live bits, who would have thought that Keon Coleman's week 1 would have been such a fraud fantasy-wise? It seemed like he was primed for this breakout, and it has been a completely lost season.
Played very well that game. Like, even though it was a shootout, he showed up. Like, he was the guy that they was depending on.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that one of my dynasty leagues that I'm in, somebody in that league traded Saquon Barkley for Keon Coleman. Like
After that game?
No. This is in their rookie year, and it was like they also swapped a first and a third. So it was like a early third and Keon Coleman for Saquon Barkley and a late first. It was during last year when Barkley was going all world. It's atrocious. And
How about this from?
I'm not gonna say who did that trade because
You should.
Name and shame.
No. It's
No shame for Ronald Morales.
it's a person people know, and I don't want to. I'm not about that.
Okay, you can say Field Yates' name.
Absolutely not.
The question, the
I'll
query.
tell you guys off air.
Okay, can't wait. Can we get to this from Ronald Morales? Best flex option: Monangai, Booty, Reed, Kincaid. Thank you.
I think Monangai's the option here. I think he's got the best chance at a touchdown.
Yeah.
Best chance at a touchdown. I think it's close for him and Kincaid.
Yep, I agree with that. I just feel better about Monangai's. I mean, like it's gonna be miserable in Chicago. So I think again, tough matchup with Cleveland, but it will be miserable. They're both getting. Monangai's going to get 15 touches.
Yeah.
Like they don't want Caleb Williams throwing, and they definitely don't want him throwing against the Browns in brutal weather.
Can we get the Browns a game at SoFi or something? Every single game they play lately
you telling, man?
What a miserable-
They waited too late. Yeah, it's like.
How does extreme cold influence things? Because we talk about wind being the biggest variance with betting. What about extreme cold?
It does, I don't think it matters a ton. We saw with the Bills-Bengals game last week, right? It was 39-34 and the snow.
Yeah.
It's mainly wind. I do think that just with the nature of these teams, they're going to run the ball a ton anyway. But yeah, it doesn't matter too much. These guys are, unlike me, Matthew, and Lawrence, these guys are big boys and they can play in the cold.
The 34 and snowing, that's not, I mean, it's cold, but it's not cold to them playing football.
Yeah.
8 degrees with no snow, that shit is worse. And it makes guys like Kyle Monangai more harder to tackle.
The only thing I could think, that it affects a little bit, and I think it's more passing than running, obviously, is like when I was at Kansas City last week, and it was freezing cold. Forgot about that. I completely forgot about Kansas City. I've been in 5 beds in 4 states over the last week and a half. All right, but I will say that when I was on the sideline for Kansas City and that Texans game, it's freezing and I'm standing on the sideline pregame and whatever, somebody drops the ball, whatever, and so an NFL football comes near my feet. And so I pick it up and throw it to whatever the player is. It was like a brick.
Yeah.
It was that cold and it's just condensed. And so I could see where kicking could be hard and maybe throwing could be hard because it was literally a brick. It was
this
not
was
like
Tom Brady's legal defense.
When you get them dudes, when they get to playing though, it's like now you're playing.
I will say the one thing the cold does affect: Tua Tagovailoa. He should get a downgrade when it's cold.
Always.
Big down. Speaking of a downgrade, this was the biggest line shift from open to where it ended. More than 10-point swing. I'm talking Colts at Seattle. Open Colts, 3.5-point dogs. Now it's 2 touchdowns. They are plus 14 at Seattle, over under 41.5. Why did this happen? Well, when your starter is a guy who's been out of football for 5 years and he's 44 years old with Phillip Rivers, that's why you have a crazy swing like this. So, Jay, you're Mr. Shoe over here.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable starting any Colts pass catchers with Phillip Rivers slinging it?
Tyler Warren. I feel okay about Tyler Warren. I think there's going to be a lot of short stuff to him. No Colts wide receiver, I think, is startable. The line move is fascinating because it was 3.5 before the Colts played the Jags, right? And so I think that with Braden Smith is now on IR, the Colts have had more injuries. I think the line would probably be Seahawks -5 if it was Daniel Jones out there. Still a 9-point difference. And here's the other thing, too, is that the line didn't move at all when Rivers became the guy who Riley Leonard, which is kind of Riley Leonard's just getting destroyed this week. Because, one, betting market doesn't respect him at all relative to Phillip Rivers. Shane Steichen think Phillip Rivers gives him a better chance to win off the couch.
Which is wild.
Yeah, but that's, I'm going to trust Steichen that he's making the right decision here. here. It's going to be interesting just seeing what the passing volume is. Jonathan Taylor's rushing attempts are set at 20.5. Not sure anyone has ever been set at 20-plus rushing attempts when they're 14-point dogs, but I do think this is going to be a heavy, heavy run script for the Colts.
I think it has to be. I agree with you on Tyler Warren, who has like an average depth of target right now of like 5.1. So it's just like it's going to be short stuff, and I do think, because we just don't know what Rivers' arm strength is going to look like, right? But we think Warren will be okay, especially because, by the way, the Seahawks have allowed the second most catches and yards to opposing tight ends. So Tyler Warren's my tight end 8. I'm starting Tyler Warren. But, yeah, and you're starting Jonathan Taylor, who I think just gets you there on volume.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's going to be particularly efficient with 3 yards a carry. But I'll tell you this, Jay, you mentioned this early in the week, and I am writing it. I'm still with it. Colts plus 14.
Yeah, let's go.
This game has backdoor cover written all over it. Are you telling me they're going to backdoor cover it?
Uncle Phil as well. His passing prop is 151.5. I think that's low. I think just with first read stuff, catch-up mode in the second half, I think he can get to 152 yards.
Yeah, that's Jay, you always say this, and it's one of the biggest lessons I've learned from you about in terms of like the opportunities in betting are when there's variance. Right? And so we have no idea what Phillip Rivers is going to do.
Yeah.
And neither do the books. That's the point, is they don't know how to price this. So they're like, okay, 150 yards, which maybe that's high, but maybe that's super low. I get that it's a tough matchup and everything like that, but you also, right, to your point, Shane Steichen is, we think, one of the favorites for Coach of the Year. By the way, if he ends up winning, getting into the playoffs with Phillip Rivers, he's absolutely winning.
He's definitely going to
Yeah, like Phillip Rivers is plus 630 to have 250 passing yards. Like, it doesn't take that much for an NFL quarterback to get to 250 passing yards
not.
on an underdog.
All right, this is from Zandal 3166. PPR need one. I'm assuming that's an RB. He says RD, but he some of our regulars are watching drunk. So PPR need one RB and a flex out of Michael Pittman, Breece Hall, Rico Dowdle, or Tyrone Tracy. Guys, I think it's the running backs here and not the one that plays for the Jets.
Wow, not Breece Hall.
We're talking about this offense like.
You don't like the Brady Cook offense?
No, I think they're going to.
I have to go Breece Hall over Tyrone Tracy.
I'm going with Rico Dowdle and Tyrone Tracy. Here's my argument. I'm going to say this. I'll take this bet right. I think the Colts will be better under Phillip Rivers than the Jets will be under Brady Cook.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this will be it.
Yeah, that's. Yeah,
Look,
he's got better weapons. So you're saying they'll score more than the Jets will?
Yes.
I would say that. And to what you guys just said about like the variance, I would tell people right now, take Phillip Rivers to get 170 passing yards at plus 119. I literally did the same thing last week with Shedeur. It was 170 and it was plus 120. Yep. He throws for 365. I don't know that Phillip Rivers will throw for 365, but it don't sound crazy to think that Phillip Rivers could throw for 225 passing yards.
Any NFL quarterback that is in catch-up mode against a prevent defense can accumulate yards. Like, look what Jacoby Brissett did to the Seahawks defense.
You're talking about guys who are current NFL quarterbacks. Matthew, can you think of a player who hasn't played in 5 years and then voila, is starting? And you've been covering this game a long time.
Yeah, no, never. And but I think, for better or for worse, I do think the success of Joe Flacco has, made people think this is
Flacco was a half season.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying,
it's different.
I'm just saying. Look, they saw him in practice. They clearly think he gives them a better chance to win than Riley or whatever. Well, Riley Leonard might be truly banged up too, so we just don't know the answer to that. But it's sort of crazy.
Sort of crazy.
They're gonna end up making a movie out of this.
That's 100%. This is a Disney movie. If he ends up doing anything,
could be a horror movie, Requiem for a Dream, if Phil Rivers gets killed on the first play by Devin Witherspoon off the edge.
Movie, thriller, horror, comedy. What genre is it going to be?
Oh, please. He's going to get. I'm not worried about quote him getting destroyed. First off, he's a big guy.
He's even bigger now.
Even bigger now, and he's a pro quarterback. Like he's able to get rid of the ball quickly. Like he's a guy that play. How many long did he play? 17 years, something like that. 15 years. Like be fine. By the way, it's the most fascinating game on the slate.
As I said earlier in the week, it's the most compelling game in NFL history that has a spread of 14.
Yes.
Like there's never been a 14-point spread.
Cannot wait to watch this.
Yeah.
Can't wait either as well. So I do think, we'll see. Anyway, we just talked about the variance and everything like that. about this. Do we need to talk about the Seattle side of the ball, which is just, here's the thing. They're 14-point favorites at home. You're still starting, I think, obviously Jackson Smith and Jigba, but I think it's fair to worry about Sam Darnold's volume here because it might be 15 pass attempts because he just doesn't win. Like, you could easily see a pick six, something like that with this defense. And so I prefer Walker to Charbonnet, but both guys are basically flex options because they kind of cancel each other out. But in a home game where they're favored by 2 touchdowns, we expect both guys to get a bunch of work.
And they have okay weather conditions. It's low 50s, cloudy, no rain until later in the day. So you can get some nasty weather days December in Seattle. Not supposed to be the case for this afternoon. Final game, Sunday Night Football. Neither team with a winning record, but should be a compelling watch because you have the 5-8 Vikings, 5.5-point dogs at the 6-1 Dallas Cowboys over under 47.5. Our producer Steven bringing his A game with this: the easily stopped force versus the easily moved object. Yeah. Who wins, Vikings passing game or Cowboys secondary? And producer Damian had his fingerprints all over that one as well.
I'm going to say the Cowboys secondary. I think Dallas takes care of business tonight.
Yeah, good clarification, by the way, George, because Steven could never come up with that.
No.
I know, Steven could. Yeah, he doesn't have that.
Resident Florida man couldn't do that.
Makes a lot of sense there as well. Look, I get it. The Cowboys' pass defense has not been good, but, neither is J.J. McCarthy. Since Quinnen Williams came back and they got a little healthier, they're at least getting some pressure. Mm-hmm. And I do think they try to dial that up against McCarthy here as well. And so if you can get home to the quarterback, that helps out a struggling secondary, right? Because less time to throw and find it as well. One of the things that Brian Flores has done this year with his defense is he's sort of focused on whoever's the team's number one wide receiver. So I actually think this could be a George Pickens redemption game. Brutal game last week for Pickens, but I do think they try to take out CeeDee Lamb as much as possible. My guy Eights, I call him Eights. But if CeeDee Lamb is, at least slightly hampered, we assume he's going to play tonight. I actually think George Pickens has a nice game today.
Yeah, the only thing is who's the wide receiver one on Dallas exactly? We sure it's CeeDee Lamb?
I think, I
Could be anybody.
Production-wise, maybe not, but I think perception-wise, yes.
Yeah, I still think CD is probably a little better than George Pickens. But, the thing with J.J. McCarthy, talk about how someone like Josh Allen is kind of defense agnostic because he's just so good and he creates outside of structure. It doesn't matter as much if you have an elite defense. J.J. McCarthy might also be defense agnostic the other way, where he can just destroy any play by missing wide open guys. Now, to be fair, he was much, much better against the Commanders, and so that is the optimism. I do think, though, this Cowboys secondary is not as bad as its season-long numbers because of the Quinnen Williams impact, but we'll see.
Yeah, the game's in Dallas. It's a Sunday night football game, primetime game, the lights, the whole thing. I do believe home teams on Sunday night football or Monday night football, like when you're a primetime game and you're home, you sort of get up for it in a way that maybe you don't with a regular season game like that's at 1 o'clock. And this is a huge game for both teams, obviously, trying to get into the playoff picture here, trying to jump in. So I think the Cowboys want this more. They're 5.5-point favorites as well.
Oh, a direct plea to Jay.
Oh, wow.
The floor is yours from a fellow Aussie, Jay.
Yeah, Jay, help your Australian brother. Half-point PPR, need 1 running back and 2 flex. RJ Harvey, Javonte Williams, Ashton Genty, Justin Jefferson, and Stephon Diggs. So the running back, I think it's Javonte Williams out of those 3. And then where it gets interesting now, I don't want Stephon Diggs here. I think I might lean RJ Harvey.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's RJ Harvey. I don't want just any part of Ashton Genty at this point. Justin Jefferson, too high variance. Even when JJ played well last week, JJ McCarthy played well. Justin Jefferson
get the right JJ.
Hang on, though. He needs 2 flex. So you say he needs a running back, great. He needs a flex. We like RJ Harvey, fine. Yeah. So now you need to pick one between Genty, Jefferson, and Diggs. And I'll just say I think it's Justin Jefferson. I'm nervous about what this is going to be an ugly week. I'm just telling you, when you think about, Kenny Pickett and Brady Clark and Phillip Rivers, and you think about all these backup quarterbacks that we have just no confidence in their offensive abilities at all in tough matchups. So I just think it's going to be an ugly, ugly day. And Kenny Pickett on the road at Philadelphia for a Raiders team. With Genty, you're hoping he gets some passing work. I'm as a barely top 20 play, but I believe in Justin Jefferson. He's on the love list this week. I'm as a top 12 wide receiver. Yep. We'll see.
Yeah. Also, when in doubt, go with the best football player when it's close. So Justin Jefferson, I agree, with Harvey and Javonte.
You are holding your nose and hitting start just because
Are you taking Genty with Kenny Pickett?
No, neither option's great.
No, you went Harvey,
Javonte and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I would go. Yeah.
Dallas has given up at least 17 fantasy points to an opposing wide receiver in 10 of their past 12 games. Now, will that be Pickens or will that be Lamb remains to be seen, but certainly, Dallas has given it up. So, if Dallas is going to give up 17 fantasy points to a wide receiver, you feel better about Jefferson, not Addison, or Jalen Naylor. Sorry, I'm confused with the Dallas. I mentioned the Cowboys wide receivers. Meant to just mention that.
How about we get a shot under your belt? We're going to go shot for shot predictions you feel real confident in for Week 15, Matthew.
Yeah, and let's stay in the NFC East with the New York Football Giants. 5 of the past 7 quarterbacks to face the Commanders have scored at least 20 fantasy points. So Jackson Dart is a top 5 fantasy quarterback today. I think he scores at least 18 fantasy points. Let's go Jackson Dart.
Yep.
The Dartler.
Staying with said Dartler, I'll take Jackson Dart over 1.5 passing touchdowns. This has been hovering in the plus 130 or so range. I think that he is going to have less designed runs, which we saw under Kafka against the Patriots. And I think that no quarterback should be set as plus money to get 2 passing touchdowns against his Commanders secondary. J.J. McCarthy can get 3. Jackson Dart can get 3.
1,000%.
J.J. McCarthy. I'm going to go to the forgotten man who I haven't had a shot with in a while, Lamar Jackson. I got him finishing as a top 3 fantasy quarterback this week. Look, he was quarterback 7 last week, and he got a touchdown stolen from him with Isaiah Likely. That would have put him to quarterback 3. We saw him versus the Bengals a couple of weeks ago. No Zay Flowers touchdown. Likely fumbles into the end zone. We just saw Josh Allen light these boys up in the snow. At some point, the ball will bounce the Ravens' way, and it starts today. Lamar Jackson, top 3 today.
For me, Trevion Henderson, last 3 games has gone over 60 rushing yards. He's averaging 65 rushing yards. Now, who does he get to face? A Bills run defense that is one of the biggest run funnels in the NFL. They're giving up 5.1 yards per carry. That's 4th worst in the NFL. So I think for Trevion Henderson, it's still timeshare in the backfield, but I think he's going to go over 60-plus again this week. Will easily clear that number at 45.5 right now on DraftKings.
I like it. All right. Travis Etienne finishes as a top 10 fantasy running back this week. Look, teams facing the Jets this season are averaging the 3rd most running back rushes. Bashal Tutin had a bad fumble last week. It's all Travis Etienne. In a game in which they're favored, and they're favored heavily, it's one of the reasons why I didn't like Breece Hall in the last question that we got. I think the Jets have totally given up on the season. This game's in Jacksonville means so much to the Jaguars. Jags have had the best run defense over the last month. But on their side of the ball, because they're heavy favorites, they're at home, I think Etienne gets a massive workload today, and I think he finishes as a top 10 running back in fantasy. Travis Etienne, here's to you.
Okay, I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey under 44.5 receiving yards. He's gone under in 2 of the past 3. I don't think there's going to be a huge need for him to be part of the passing game in a game where the Niners are almost 2 touchdown favorites at home. Tennessee is also dealing with this back issue, which expected to go, but he may not be 100%. So CMC under 44.5 receiving yards.
All right. Going to Buffalo, good old Buffalo, man. James Cook here, 110 yards from scrimmage versus these Patriots. He's hit this number in 4 straight games, and in those 4 games, he's averaging 23.5 touches per game. He's got 30 receiving yards in 3 of his last 4 games. They're finally using him in that way. Look, Devin Singletary had over 100 scrimmage yards versus this team. Chase Brown did it in Week 12. So give me James Cook to keep on rolling. He's one of the best running backs in the league.
He's had a monster fantasy season so far this year. For me, where have you been? Ricky Pearsall, shot number 2. First 4 weeks before he was injured, averaged more than 80 receiving yards per game. Since coming back from the injury, it's been a slow buildup. I think the bye week will really help him. That coupled with facing one of the worst secondaries in the NFL and the Tennessee Titans, his number at 36.5. I wouldn't mind a ladder bet up to 70. That's plus 311 or 80 receiving yards plus 434. I think he gets back on track this week.
All righty. Last one here for me, Harold Fannin Jr. We've talked about him before in the show, but Harold Fannin Jr. finishes as a top 5 fantasy tight end this week. Look, tight ends that have seen at least 6 or more targets against the Bears are averaging 13.5 fantasy points per game. David Njoku not going to play in this one as well. So there is a connection between Shedeur Sanders and Harold Fannin Jr. I say he finishes as a top 5 tight end today.
Okay, my last one, I'm taking the Bengals plus 2.5 at plus 100, so effectively plus 2.75. I don't understand why the Ravens are so materially favored in this game. Lamar Jackson has not looked like himself really since the first week of the season. I'm not convinced he's playing injured. I think he might just be having a bad stretch, and they're not getting open for him outside of Zay Flowers. Meanwhile, Jamar Chase destroys the Ravens secondary whenever he plays them. The Ravens pass defense is not in a good state at the moment, so I said the Bengals cover plus 2.5.
Ooh, I like it.
All right, what do we got plus money, Jackson?
Since week 1.
He hasn't played well.
All right, well, Darius Slayton, because I watch these games here. I'm going to go with Darius Slayton getting at least 40 reception yards. That's at plus 109 there. He's hit that in 3 of his last 4 games, but this is the thing. In 4 straight games, he's had a catch of at least 23 yards, and these are versus teams like the Niners, the Bears, the Lions, Patriots, playoff-type teams. Now they're going against the Commanders, who have allowed the 7th most receiving yards to wideouts. So give me Darius Slayton for the big one.
Last week on Sunday Night Football, I was all over the Texans. This week, though, I think a mild letdown. They're still going to win at home, but they have the Arizona Cardinals coming to town. I think that number, when it went from 9.5 to 10.5, is just too big. The Cardinals haven't fared well against the NFC West. Their other 5 starts with Jacoby Brissett under center, facing teams not in the NFC West, they've lost by either less than a touchdown or won those games. So I think Brissett plus 10.5 on the road could be kind of a mucky game where there's a backdoor cover, but I think it's just too big a number. Take the Cardinals.
Okay. Got to revise. Lamar hasn't played well since week 2. He was great in week 2 against the Browns. Bad since.
We'll always have week 2.
Not just cold in Chicago. How about Joe Burrow? Sounded a little melancholy this week. Hasn't been having as much fun playing football. Will he have fun today? In 6 degrees in Cincinnati.
Now,
yikes.
Ooh, that's cold. Ooh, that's cold.
He keep putting them hands in his pockets after every throw.
Rome Odunze back in the house. Looks like he is good to go for the Bears. Should be a big boost for their offense at home against the Browns today. It was Luther Burden who led the Bears in receiving yards last week. How about DJ Moore with Rome out? 1 catch for -4 yards. The top 3, all good to go. You surprised at all Chris Rodriguez Jr., who was limited in practice Thursday, Friday, inactive with that groin injury.
Yeah, a little surprising. It looked like he was going to warm up during the pregame to see how he felt. Obviously, didn't feel good enough to go, so he is out. It will be Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and Jeremy McNichols in a really good matchup against the Giants, who are a bottom 3 run defense over the last month. So, like in a deep league, I'm starting Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Bill. Should get the majority of the work, and the offense will look pretty decent with Mariota under center. Rescue Ranger 03 has a question. Can I trust Debo in the flex if healthy or roll with Jerry Jeudy, Blake Corum, Jordan Mason, or Troy Franklin? Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rescue Ranger.
I'd probably go Corum.
I would go Blake Corum. Definitely wouldn't go Jeudy here. If Debo's even if Debo healthy, I still might go Blake Corum.
Nah, I'm going Debo.
I would go
Debo.
Debo is active.
Debo's active. I'm going Debo.
I said might. I would go Debo.
All right.
Rescue Ranger.
All right. There you go, Rescue Ranger. Thank you for your service.
Next question here from Walter. Odunze, Pollard, Monangai, Hunt. Pick one. Full PPR.
I think it's Kareem Hunt, just because I think he's got the better chance at a touchdown. It's Hunter Monangai.
No Pollard after that big week.
Presumably, Tony Pollard will cease his LaDainian Tomlinson 2005 act going forward. And to be fair, Pollard does have a very favorable matchup in terms of run defense, at least. The Niners' run defense is not very good. On the other hand, they're almost 2 touchdown underdogs, though they are almost 2 touchdown underdogs every week.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, I have Pollard and Monangai really close to each other. We already moved on. Okay. I was going to debate it a little.
We're going to go Kareem Hunt?
No.
I would go Pollard.
Yeah, let's go Pollard. Screw it. We're going Pollard. We've decided we're going Pollard.
Never went wrong for anyone.
Yeah.
Going Tony Pollard.
With my a-hole Chicago buddies, I had Pollard. For 13 weeks, I played him. Finally, last week, I was like, I'm so sick of getting 3 or 4 points. Bench him, and he goes off. Back in the starting lineup, so he's probably cursed this week.
Don't do it.
I didn't have unwavering Pollard belief like I should have. Maddie, with this question, need to get my first playoff win. It is playoff time, fantasy football world, in 4 years. Playing my dad, grudge match here. Pick one, wide receiver, running back, flex, Odunze, Booty, Pollard, Vidal, Wilson, Coker. Going deep with those last 2.
Yeah, it looks like Josh Jacobs is going to play. For me, I think it's Odunze, Pollard, and Vidal. Keyshawn Booty, we get, just no idea. Coker, you don't like
Coker need a TD or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like the only one I might consider is Boutte, just because they do seem to like him in the red zone. But I think Odunze, Pollard, and Vidal are the guys that you feel best about in terms of talent and work opportunity.
Agreed.
Today. Yeah. All right.
Let's keep it here rolling on Fantasy Football Pregame. These are the waiver ads, players available in over 50% of leagues on Yahoo. How about Motor Singletary taking control of the Giants' backfield? Who saw that coming?
Yeah, I think him and Tracy will still split work here, but Devin Singletary's had double-digit touches in every game since Cam Scatterbo got injured. They seem to use him more around the goal line. You like anyone against Washington's defense. We just talked about the fact that the Titans are 12.5-point underdogs in this one. So Tajay Spears, who's the passing down back for Tennessee, should get a decent amount of work. He's running back 34 for me this week. How about Bam Knight, who's part of that committee at Houston? It's not get crazy. He's running back 40. But if you have to start a Cardinals running back today, I think it's Bam Knight. And finally, George, you brought up Blake Corum, who continues to keep doing his Tyler Algier impression, getting double-digit touches and scoring a lot.
And with that being a shootout, that's why I think a guy to potentially consider if you're having some factual
Blake Corum has 3 rushing touchdowns and has rushed for at least 80 yards in the past 2 games.
It's a thing. He's smoke and mirrors. Coffee shop, start 2, half-point PPR, Swift, Spears, Bill, Yoshivas, Burden.
Yeah, I think it's Swift and Spears. Again, for all the reasons we just talked about here. Chicago's going to want to run the ball. It's going to be a very run-heavy script for your Bears against the Browns in that cold weather today. And Tajay Spears, again, as a deep league.
I would go Bill over Spears.
Would you?
Yeah, with Chris Rodriguez.
I would
out.
too, and I'm just saying, Yoshivas, you got T. Higgins out.
Yoshivas did score that game a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, 29 yards
He
of
was the
receiving
one, but he only on
touchdown.
the one play.
It
Only on the
wasn't
one
much.
play.
But
you got Mitchell Tinsley, starting to eat into that. Gesicki tends to. Mike Gesicki tends to
No
do
relation to Jamal Tinsley.
Yeah.
far as we
Former
know.
Pacer great.
This game, that game 51.5 too.
I'm with you on Bill, though.
Yeah,
I think that's the
Fair enough.
That's the play that we want your
I
questions.
might be too
throughout
much
the
of a
show.
bitter Commanders fan.
you're
No,
jaded at this point.
I would go Spears. I would go Spears over Bill.
Based on the game script?
Just based on like Bill when he was like he had that one big game and then he done nothing there. They gave him like another 3 games after
They've
that.
tried.
Yeah.
But the Giants have the worst run defense in the NFL and historically bad. And Bill is going to be the number 1 guy in that. Even if he is sharing some carries, I still think that he'll get enough work.
That was the running back waiver ads. Turn it over now to the wide receivers. And we got Jaden Higgins, who's starting to at least have a carved-out role within the Texans offense, Matthew.
We like that matchup against Arizona. He's the number 2 guy after Nico Collins for the Texans. And Jaden Higgins has finished as a top 30 wide receiver 3 of the past 5 games. How much Mary DK? No team allows more receptions per game to the slot this season than the San Francisco 49ers. He was a consideration for me on desperation play. Darius Slayton out there. Again, we love anyone against Washington. How about Devon Vele? He's had back-to-back games with at least a 23% target share. He's the Saints' number 2. And then Kayshon Boutte came in as a question earlier as well. You see it there on your screen. Wide receiver 45. He needs a touchdown to pay off. Just because but they do seem to look for Boutte a little bit in the red zone.
He just hasn't been the same guy since coming back from the injury. He had that good run, then he gets dinged up. Ved, our pal, one of the regulars, FFHH regular, right there in the name. Half-point PPR, pick 1, Pollard, Neal, KW3, Slayton, or Reese.
Which we think is Brees.
We think it's Brees. Again, I think the Jets have given up on the season. They've all made vacation plans for Jamaica. They want no part of this. Jags' run defense has been fantastic, so I'm avoiding Brees Hall and every Jet if I can. I think the answer here is Devin Neal. You're not really scared of the Carolina You're not really scared about the Carolina rushing defense. Over the last 4 weeks, they're 26th against the run. Devin Neal, who got in the end zone, no Alvin Kamara again today for New Orleans, as we've talked about. So, give me Devin Neal here. He's getting the workload, and he's got a good shot at a touchdown.
How about the disrespect for Brees Hall listed last on that
He didn't
5?
even spell his name right. That's the ultimate disrespect.
The Brady Cook stink
You
rubbing off on
you
Brees.
got these young NFL players out here spitting in folks' faces. That's the worst. That's the most disrespectful thing. The next is calling you Reese when your name's
That's
Brees.
number 2?
That's number 2.
Ooh, you're saying young. Jamar Chase, not that young.
Yeah, he young. He young to us. He like 20-something. Jalen Carter, too. The spitters. The ill spitters of the NFL.
That could be its own end-of-season award segment for Week 18.
Spitter of the year.
Spitter of the year on Fantasy Football Pregame.
Spitter sounds like a 90 grunge band. The Spitters.
DJ Spitter?
Yeah, no,
it's like when you could if you a good rapper, they call you a good man. He could
bars.
spit. He could spit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see Stone Temple Pilots and with the Spitters opening. Yeah, that's what it
The
sounds
Spitters.
like. Yeah.
All right, let's move on rapidly.
How about what it sounds like? Mariota,
Yeah,
the last name, and he's top 10.
Only one team allows more fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks than the New York Giants. Mariota has been pretty good, at least fantasy-wise, since he's
That's the
filled
man's
in.
name.
When he's filled in for Jaden Daniels, C.J. Stroud facing the Cardinals. 3 of the last 4 quarterbacks to face Arizona have scored at least 17 fantasy points as well. With Dart as the starting quarterback, Theo Johnson, he's been really good. He's averaging over 11 fantasy points per game with Dart under center with a 21% target share. And Isaiah Likely against Cincinnati. Isaiah Likely is a tight end, and he's playing Cincinnati.
100 yards and a touchdown.
Bingo, bango.
He had
2 touchdowns last week. Now, one got called back. It was BS. But he had 2 touchdowns last week as well. Again, no team gives up more points to an opposing tight ends than the Bengals, and it's by a significant margin. So, So there you go.
Okay.
Finally, we got a question before we go to our desperation plays. Gus Stewart in the playoffs. with one healthy drafted player. Wow, that is some serious managing to pull that off.
Good job, dude.
Yes,
Serious
sir.
flexual
Yes, sir.
frustrations. Half point PPR, Jaden Higgins, Singletary, or go grab Likely. Thanks, #FF Pregame.
Hey, I actually think it's close between Singletary and Likely because of that matchup. I probably still got to lean Devin Singletary, though, because he's going up against the Commanders here.
I agree.
Not afraid of the timeshare there, so.
He's got a better chance at a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like
Because if Likely get
the
get the touchdown, he going to fumble into the end zone or they're going to not call it a touchdown. He's going to get the yards, though. Likely's definitely going to get the receiving yards.
Well, they've got Andrews there, too, is the only issue. You know what I mean? But yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, Singletary.
I know
Our answer is Motor Singletary.
I know you were desperate to get some sleep after Vegas. How about
Yes,
our
sir.
desperation plays? Players available more than 80% of leagues, Matthew.
Colby Parkinson, pick your white tight end for the Rams. I picked mine. It's Colby Parkinson, who very quietly.
Say what I think.
It's very quiet. They got 5 of them, Lawrence. It's like unbelievable. But I'm going with Colby Parkinson, who has scored in 4 of his past 5 games. He's got 10 targets the past 2 weeks. Give me Colby Parkinson. It's my desperation play.
Unbelievable.
Follow that up, Jay.
I'm going to go away from the tight end room of the Rams and go with Devon Vele, Hart Vanderlee's brother. Matthew mentioned that Vele has had back-to-back games with at least a 23% target share, favorite matchup against Carolina, and I like Tyler Shuck. I like what he's doing out there. He's played very well lately, Mr. Shuck.
I'm going to go with my non-white Cleveland Browns quarterback as my desperation play, Shedeur Sanders here.
Why you got to bring color into it?
I said not,
You
so
cracked yourself up with that one.
that eliminates it. Hey, look, here's the facts, right? Shedeur was quarterback 2 in fantasy last week against the much weaker Tennessee Titans defense, but this Bears defense, they've allowed multiple touchdown passes to quarterbacks in 2 straight games, so they're stronger versus the run than they are through the air. The kicker is it's going to be extremely cold here. I think both teams are going to try to get that run game going, hence why it's a desperation play. But the Browns get near that goal line, you could see them throw another quick touchdown like they did last week to Njoku, something like that. So riding with Shedeur here.
Even with Rome back, Luther Burden's led the Bears in receiving yards the last 5 weeks. So he's becoming a thing while DJ Moore has been non-existent. Last week, 4 for 67. I think Luther Burden, if you're desperate, a chance for 60, 70-plus receiving yards this week, even in those chilly conditions against the Browns. Proper shot time. Aloha Bricks, Barry, just don't give a rip anymore. Love to see it. What say you, Matthew?
Aloha Bricks is right.
Say he week 15 and out of there.
No. I will answer this question genuinely. I'm going to answer. Aloha Bricks is making a joke, but I'm going to answer the question genuinely. I'm going to stop down for 1 second. It's not that I don't care anymore, because I care deeply about the show, believe it or not. I legitimately do. I care about this show. I care about Fantasy Football Happy Hour. I care about my performance on Football Night America. I care about the job that I do for NBC Sports and Peacock. I care about the other things that are going on in my life as well. But in terms of not giving an F, that is right, because I have been on air for a long time. And so I'm out here trying to make people laugh and make jokes, and so you just kind of take a shot. And what I will say is I give a lot of credit to NBC and the support that I get here as well. I've been on NBC now for a little over 3.5 years. And in 3.5 years, I have never once gotten a note. Hey, that joke went too far. Hey, you should have tried this. You tried it. So I have never been given a note. They give me complete creative support. And that is not something that would have happened at some of my previous stops, where I would have had 8 million meetings after a joke
Shots
like that.
fired.
So it's not shots fired. No, it's different. It's different cultures. It's different mentalities. Like, people run their businesses how they see fit. I have no issue with how other companies run their business. That's not a shot fired at all. It's just merely saying that's why I'm much looser here than I have been in previous jobs, just because of the environment that I've been placed in, which I'm very appreciative of. That's all.
The plus money, no note for the Chimere DK jokes over the course of the year.
I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, that joke, that was whatever.
I'm surprised.
I've done much worse. I've done many jokes worse than that.
NBC hasn't given you a note on your throwing ability? We got to bring in
I
Medium
say,
Show after last.
They've given me some side eyes about that.
All right, I'll go.
Almost. All right, there you go,
Takes it
George.
in.
Oh,
You know what?
Oh, God.
God damn.
So yeah, it's clear what you.
Should we have
it's
medium? Let's
clear
bring in
what
medium
you
show.
do care about, and it's not your throwing.
Medium show.
no,
You want to
give me
go
that.
another
No,
one?
here,
or
no, here.
You know what though?
Is medium
Medium
show coming in doing
yeah.
one?
Let's.
You know what?
right.
See, this is the thing.
This is
Last week,
outrageous.
medium show threw with the junior ball.
Yeah.
And he
No,
made
he
it.
had a real ball.
he had a real
He
ball.
did.
Yeah.
Then who had it
Hang on,
last
let me give him
week?
a pass rush.
Jay gave me the real
Alright.
ball last week.
He.
Oh, no!
It was a fluke.
You shouldn't have done it, matey, but you
I
could have
know.
lived a legend.
Yeah,
He
you
get
should've
he get a little defense on him.
Steady's gonna die the villain.
Yeah.
That one was close.
It's Harvey Dent all over again. Harvey Medium Show.
First time I can say this in 3 years of doing the show. The first prop involves a grandpa. We're going to start with Phillip Rivers passing yards, Jay, 152.5.
Yeah, we spoke about this earlier. I'm going to take the over. I just don't think any NFL quarterback with these weapons in this offense as a 14-point underdog should be set this low.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Lawrence. This is big. Reflects the fantasy football superstar he has been this season. Rushing and receiving yards, 119.5.
It's the reason it's that big is because he's done it 4 out of his last 5 games. One of those times includes 146 against the Eagles when in a game where the Lions only scored a single touchdown. So Jahmyr gives the biggest play waiting to happen in the NFL. Give me the over on that.
Let's see if Matthew's buying the revenge game narrative for Stephon Diggs receptions, 4.5.
I'm going to take the under here. Look, he's had 3 or fewer receptions in 5 of the past 6 games. I think the Bills are going to make sure that Diggs does not do to them what he did last time as well. I think he gets one big play here, but give me under 4.5 receptions for Stephon Diggs, chief ball officer.
From Harvey Dent to RJ Harvey for Jay, rushing yards, 50.5.
I'm going to take the over. He went 17 for 75 last week, continues to take over this backfield with J.K. Dobbins injured. Packers' rush defense is solid, but not a dominant unit. I think he should go over here.
2 faces for Michael Wilson. If MHJ plays, then he's average. If he doesn't, then he's Jerry Rice. So receiving yards, Lawrence, 64.5.
Yeah, and we know he's not. Like Jay said earlier, the streak has to end at some point, but give me the over at 60.
There we go.
At
He's still buying it.
Yeah, 64 and a half. Look, in the Cardinals' 5 straight losses, whether they've been getting blown out, whether it's been a close game, Jacoby Brissett is averaging almost 320 passing yards a game. So with no Marvin Harrison, hell yeah, I'm taking the over on Michael Wilson. Why not?
They're a fun team to watch, even in blowouts.
Like they're not going to sack him every single drop back, maybe 10, but not every single time. Give me the over.
I don't know if fun would be the right way to describe Trevor Lawrence. His completion number, Matthew, 18.5, even though the Jags keep winning.
Yeah, problem is I'm going under on this number as well. Look, he's been under this number in 5 straight games. 3 of the past 5 quarterbacks that faced the Jets have also gone under this number. They're not going to need to throw in this one. Again, you heard me talk about I like Travis Etienne. I think he has a big game here. I think there's probably a defensive touchdown, or a short field. I don't have a lot of confidence in this Jets offense. Coming to Jacksonville, Brady Cook under center, who is just like he's a young Tim Boyle, basically. So he's just going to be dumping off and just be, he looked brutal last week, and no Garrett Wilson in this game. I think the Jets have packed it in. I took the under.
Total?
I took the under on team total first half and first quarter as well. That was Vaughn's best bet.
Our
colleague Vaughn's best bet.
Shout out to Vaughn.
I really like that. Under 0.5 in the first quarter. I think he and I agree with it. Under 0.5 and I think under 6. Under 5.5. I think it was under 6.5 for first half in the Jets. I took both numbers.
I'm a Mizzou grad. Brady Cook, fine college player. Undrafted for a reason.
Yes.
And now we're seeing it.
I ain't gonna give him the Tim Boyle though without his for that. That's harsh. That is
That's the ultimate insult.
Harsh. Yeah, that's like Peterman or something.
Jay, Harold Fannin Jr., a lot of hype first hour of the show here on Fantasy Football Pregame. Receiving yards, 48.5.
Yeah, I think this is too low. I'm going to take the over. Shador showed that he could get the ball to Harold Fannin, put up volume passing stats. The Browns are more than touchdown dogs in this one. Bears secondary, not super imposing either. So give me over on Harold Fannin.
Lawrence, Joe Burrow, passing and rushing yards, 270.5.
This one made me a little nervous because this has went down a couple yards, but I have to go over because he threw for 261 versus the Ravens a couple of weeks ago, and that's with him having a bad first half. He came back the second half, guns blazing, threw for 284 last week in the shootout versus Buffalo. They're going to have to throw. He's going to hit up Jamar Chase, so I got to take the over here for Joe Shiesty.
All right, we got Matthew's ride or die of Marion Hampton. 44.5 rushing yards, not too
a big number. Listen, I'm taking the over here. He had 56 rushing yards in his first game back. So he beat this number in the first game back here, and that was a game in which he saw only 34% of the team rushing attempts. I think in his next game back, I think they up that number because they can't do anything else. He's going to be under siege, Justin Herbert. I think on the road at Kansas City, they're going to want to run the ball. Arrowhead, try to take the crowd out of it. And so Hampton, who is the better running back than Kamani Vidal, I think he gets more of a workload today. I'm ranked higher than Kamani Vidal. Give me over 44.5 rushing yards for my ride or die. Amari Hampton, you see it there over my shoulder. There you go.
One of his shoulders.
Right, this is one of my shoulders.
That's just good television.
Yeah. Right shoulder. Yeah.
There you go.
Let's go no huddle the last three for Sunday Night Football. Javonte Williams rushing and receiving 84.5.
Yep, I'm going to go over here. I think that J.J. McCarthy is going to be going 3 and out a lot, and there'll be game script for Javonte.
Lawrence Justin Jefferson receiving yards 63.5.
Before he goes at 3 and out, I got him going over. Dallas has allowed a wide receiver to go at least 92 yards in 3 straight games. Give me over 62.5.
Will Dak be balling out tonight, Matthew? 264.5.
Yeah, I'm going over. He's had at least 268 passing yards in each of his last 4 games. The over-under in this game is 47.5. Basically, Vegas is saying, hey, DraftKings is saying, we think Jay McCarthy is going to be able to move the ball enough that, we think there are a lot of points are going to be scored here. Cowboys are only a 3-point, they're 5.5-point favorites. But still, I think J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings offense move the ball enough that Dak's going to have to throw. Give me over 264.5 passing yards for Dak Prescott.
DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bet if your bet wins. Download the app. Use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oh,
that crown is yours.
Yours. Which one was a bigger one-week wonder? Medium show last week or J.J. McCarthy week 1? Aloha Bricks.
From the top rope. Obviously, medium show. We just saw him miss that one as well. There's at least hope for J.J. McCarthy. Sorry, medium
Shots
show.
fired. The legend of medium show
The new men without hats
has come to an end.
when that ball is up in the air, and I got to make the most of my opportunities because I don't really get too many of them, especially with these defenses that we play, and just how much focus they have been putting on me a lot. Going out there and enjoying, playing out there with my guys, and of course being that leader out there on that field to, get JJ where he needs to be mentally to lead us to another victory.
How about Jet looking like Neo from The Matrix? You liking that look, Jay?
Loving that look. I just saw Keanu on Broadway yesterday, in fact, George.
There you go. Vikings, Cowboys, 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday night football. Can the Cowboys keep their fading playoff hopes alive? See it on NBC and Peacock from Jerry World. So we are at top of the second hour. What do we got now? 12:16 Eastern time. Yeah. Matthew furiously starting one of his, 26 teams? How many are still left in the playoffs?
I think I missed the playoffs in like 4 leagues, ours being one of them.
Wow.
I was in 32, so 28 to 32.
It's like you do this for a living.
It is like impressive. I do this for a living.
Yeah. So those 4 teams drive. You got something you want to add?
No, I was just going to say we won't do any fact checking there, but
right. 32. That's a very high percentage.
Over 90%.
I can bring that in.
80%. What's driving you to drink? As you're already clutching your Coke there.
Oh, I'll tell you exactly what's driving me to drink. All the backup quarterbacks, like Brady Cook and Phillip Rivers and Kenny Pickett, Marcus Mariota will be okay, but it's just brutal. There's just gonna be so many teams that are like just under, and Shedeur Sanders, that's gonna be an ugly game as well, and so just all these backup quarterbacks, the fact that, regardless of whether we agree or not, the fact that the Indianapolis Colts thought their best chance at winning this week was a 44-year-old guy who hadn't played in 5 years tells you not just about the state of the Colts, but the state of the quarterback position in the NFL. The fact that the line didn't move from Riley Leonard to Phillip Rivers. So backup quarterbacks. It's going to be there's going to be a lot of unders today.
Yeah, I'm going to go, Dylan Gabriel's the backup quarterback for the Browns, by the way. But
you know what I mean, though. You know what I'm talking about. Like, just these guys that didn't start the season as the starter.
You know who got a starting quarterback? The Chiefs, and that's who's
that's fair.
That's driving me. They lost 4 of their last 5 games, and the one that they did win, it was in overtime at home to Jay's Colts. 4 of those losses are by 1 score, and we talked about it earlier. They're not winning those close games. What happened to the situational football, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes? We keep saying every week, this is your time. This is really it.
Yep. Okay, well, he's not a backup quarterback, even if some Philly fans on Talkback Radio want him to be. But I'm drinking for Jalen Hurts, who's coming off the worst game of his career, I think. Haven't watched every game of Hurts' career, but I'm going to guess that was the worst. It was the worst. Yeah, he was very poor against the Chargers. Now he has a good bounce-back spot against the Raiders, but he has to take care of business in this one.
For me, drinking for Jets fans and our pal Connor Rogers, who has to go through this each and every week.
It's an evergreen bit here. It used to be the past 50 years.
Just watching some putrid football. And in my notes, I had, hey, remember 2 years ago with Tim Boyle? We've already hit on that. Now it just fill in a different underwhelming quarterback, Brady Cook. It seems like they're never going to figure it out. And just long-suffering Jets fans, every Sunday's got to suck. Yeah.
My biggest issue with what you just said is you call him our pal Connor Rogers. He's our colleague.
Wow.
Shout out to Connor.
Tough scenes.
You're my pal, Connor.
Yeah.
We like Connor. Connor's a good dude.
Top 10 quarterback ranks for Matthew Berry, Josh Allen, Drake May, 1-2 going head-to-head. And Matthew Stafford, who's right now in the lead for the MVP race.
Minus 180.
You got him at number 3, Matthew.
I do as well. Again, we've talked about this Lions-Rams game where it's 54.5 is the over-under. We expect a ton of points to be scored, especially because Matthew Stafford, specifically here, is at home, right? He averages 21.6 fantasy points per game when he's home. He's had at least 3 touchdown passes or more in 4 of his past 5 home games. And by the way, since week 8, the Lions allow the 5th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. So Matthew Stafford chasing an MVP title, chasing an NFC West title, facing his former team. Give me Matthew Stafford as a top 3 play this week.
Just ahead of him, Lawrence, with Drake May. Is this a statement-type game for him going up against Josh Allen and the Bills?
I think he made a statement earlier in the season when they beat the Bills in Buffalo. Interestingly enough, right, that was his worst game fantasy-wise. He was quarterback 25 that week, but I think it was his best game from a football perspective.
Yep.
22 or 30 that game, 273. But beyond the stats, in that particular game, he made the plays when he needed to. This game, he just got to get the touchdowns with it, and I think he will. We know the over-under there is 49.5 there, so expect some back and forth, and the Patriots might be back. We thought it would be a lot longer without Tom Brady, but they back already.
Yeah, year one with Mike Vrabel as the head coach has been a revelation. Down to 11 through 20, and similar story with Liam Cohn as the head coach for the Jags. Somehow has guided them to 9-4 with Trevor Lawrence just outside your top 10, Matthew.
Yeah, exactly. The Traveler comes in at QB 11 as you see it there. Look, very quietly, he's finished as a top 12 quarterback in 7 of the past 9 games. He's averaging over 18 fantasy points a game. And the other thing is the Jets just don't get home, right? They're 28th in pressure rate. They're the only team in the NFL without an interception this season. It's unbelievable how bad they have been defensively with Aaron Glenn as their head coach. But, so yeah, Trevor Lawrence I do think is a viable guy today. I'm telling you, I think the Jets have just packed it in. I think the Jets are done.
It was a very bad game last week against the Dolphins.
And I also just think the Jaguars defense, the only concern on Trevor Lawrence is do the Jaguars get it big and they just run and they don't need to throw a ton? But I do think you'll see short field for them in the first half. And I do think that the Jets, I think Trevor Lawrence, who's starting to use his legs a little bit more as well, I think he's a top 12 play today.
Played very well against the Colts last week.
Yeah. Do the Jets get their first interception?
No.
Coming today, or does the streak live on?
I think the streak lives on.
You could definitely get it versus a guy like Trevor Lawrence, but they ain't did it yet.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing to me that we're this deep in the season.
How does they don't get a tip
That's a crazy-ass stat right there. Like, how you ain't get no tip or nothing?
Just one funky play, and it hasn't happened.
The Jets are a bad defense. They're brutal.
Since year one with C.J. Stroud, who was a must-start for most guys, continually regressing fantasy-wise, Jay.
Yeah, the reality is with Stroud, who's had some moments and played some good games that I don't think have shown up statistically. I thought he played well against the Colts a couple of weeks ago when he didn't have the stats, but I didn't think he played particularly well against the Chiefs outside of, he made some clutch throws, but I mean, they went like 4 drives for a stretch where they got like 3 total yards. Like against the Chiefs pass defense that has struggled against everyone else. CJ Stroud on the year has 12 passing touchdowns. Now he missed time, but he's made 10 starts. He came out early against the Broncos, but still 9 full games and 12 passing touchdowns. It's just statistically, he just hasn't been there this year. There's still time to turn it around as he gets more acclimated to Nick Calley's offense, but I think overall, a bit of a disappointing year for Stroud.
Good question here from one of our pals in the chat. Hashtag FF pregame Mariota or Stroud/Hubbard or KW3?
It's Mariota.
I think it's Mariota at quarterback. Yeah, we agree with that. And I think it's KW3 over the Chubbler. He is rising, as we've talked about. It is a rising Chubb in Carolina, but you've still got Rico Dowdle there. KW3, again, we just think the Colts are going to be, and they're 14-point underdogs at home. So we just think it's a big workload coming in the second half for both Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet. We prefer Ken Walker to Charbonnet in terms of just, talent, to be honest with you.
Dig into the running backs, 1 through 10. These the workhorses, even with Christian McCaffrey's injury concerns in that top spot, Matthew.
Yeah, he's going to play. Like they've said he's going to play, and obviously he's playing. You're starting him. I get that, again, especially against Tennessee. I understand that Jay took the under on his receiving yards, which I agree with, but ultimately I think McCaffrey's got a chance at a touchdown, possibly even 2 here, and Tennessee can't stop anyone.
Yeah, phenomenal matchup with the Titans at home. 11 through 20, and Woody Marks, based on where he was ADP, now has slid all the way up to 12th in your ranks. He's one of the great outperformances based on draft slots this year.
There's no question about it. The question with Woody Marks is, can the production handle this, right? So, I mean, you see him there at running back 12. Obviously, we've took out, the Bucky Irvings of the world and Bijan Robinson, the guys that played on Thursday night. But still, Woody Mark over those last 4 games has averaged 21 touches. He's gotten basically 80% of the Texans' running back touches in that share, in that time span, I should say. It's a great matchup with Arizona, who allows the 4th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Nick Chubb is not playing. He's out. So it should be the Woody Mark show in a game in which the Texans are favored. I know that the production hasn't always been, but the volume has been. I think the role is secure, and I think given the matchup and the opportunity that the production will be there today, it's a top 12 play.
And it was Dario Gumbawale who got the touchdown last week as the Chubb vultured out of nowhere. But Woody Marks is getting 20-plus touches.
We need the Woody to rise as well, but we believe he will.
Yeah.
We believe, I believe there will be a strong Woody today against Arizona.
I concur.
Yeah.
A declarative statement from Matthew Berry. Lawrence with Quinshon Judkins inside the top 20. He's healthy. The guys behind him dinged up in that Browns back.
Yeah, and you already like this matchup anyway, now even more so. You're going against a Bears defense that's allowed at least 85 rushing yards to a running back 2 of their last 3 games. The game that did it, Saquon was on his way to that. They just stopped giving him the ball. I don't know why they did that, but both of these teams are going to look each other in the face and see who blink first when it comes to running the ball. So we like Quinshon Judkins as the top 12 play today.
Uncle Lynn's with this. Pick 3 full PPR, Wan'Dale, Olave, Judkins, R.J. Harvey.
I think Olave is who I'm benching here as well. I mean, Wan'Dale should have a huge game against my Commanders. You've got Judkins and Harvey who should both get big workloads in their games. Olave playing the Panthers who've been plucky defensively. I actually like all 4 of those guys, but Olave is the one I have ranked the lowest of those 4.
Any dissenting voices?
No, Judkins' workload, even when they're in trailing scripts, they just keep running the ball anyway.
All right, 21 through 30. Now I got to revisit the curse of Tony Pollard.
Oh, no.
You got him just inside the top 30. Has this crazy outlier of a Week 14. Now going to San Francisco. Is he going to be a playoff darling for some in the fantasy playoffs, Matthew?
I don't think so. I mean, if he does it again, okay, that's fine. But it's not a great matchup. For all their defensive woes, the 49ers have not allowed a rushing touchdown to an opposing running back in 6 of the last 8 games. Last week was literally the first time all season long that Tony Pollard's even had more than 15 fantasy points. And you think about the Titans, who are 12.5-point underdogs on the on the road at San Francisco. I just don't know that we can count. Pollard's going to need to fall into the end zone to pay off. Like, he had the one big play against Cleveland. It's always the opportunity here, but it just, he's my running back 28, not thrilled about him.
Jay, how are you viewing Travion Henderson this week?
Yeah, I think DraftKings is pretty spot on having his rushing prop set at 45.5 and Ramondre at 39.5, which just goes to speak that it is a proper timeshare. I think you prefer Travion because of the explosivity and the upside and also the work in the receiving game potentially. But Travion Henderson, as we mentioned earlier, kind of tops out as a high-end flex play.
How about our wide receivers? These are the guys among the top 10. And for wide receiver, JSN has been living either 1 or 2 all year. Jamar Chase, you think, always ready to suit up against the Ravens at home in Cincy. We saw how chilly it is, though. Joe Burrow bundled up, single-digit temperatures there. 11 through 20, the Michael Wilson Show has been a revelation in Arizona. He is at Houston. Tough matchup, though, against the Texans defense, Matthew.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Look, Houston allows the 3rd fewest fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers and the 4th fewest yards per game to perimeter wide receivers. So it is a tough matchup. All that said, the 3 games Marvin Harrison Jr. has missed this year, he's gotten a 33% target share. He's got, he's averaging 12 for 148. Like, literally, that's his average. Like, it's just stupid. And so he doesn't need to hit 12 for 148 to pay off for you today. I do think just because they are going to throw quite a bit, they don't want to run the ball. They're not going to be able to run the ball in Houston. And him and McBride are the 2 guys. They'll move him around a little bit. Like, I think he hits the over on his receiving prop.
So you guys think this is Ron's Curry or Ron Scurry?
Ron's Curry.
Ron S. Curry.
Ah, okay. Throw it in the middle initial. I could buy that. Pick 2, half-point PPR, Michael Wilson, McLaurin, Monangai, Pollard.
Yeah, I think you got it right there. That's the right order. So Wilson, McLaurin is who I would start. McLaurin, I feel like always just kills the Giants, and obviously New York has really struggled this year. They're a bottom 10 pass defense over the last month, and McLaurin looked really good last week in a game in which not much else was working for Washington. Thought McLaurin coming back, he looks good. We've already talked about Michael Wilson quite a bit, so that's who I think you go with, the first 2.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Sticking in that land of 11 through 20 in the wide receiver ranks, Jalen Waddle has been boom or bust week to week for the Dolphins, Lawrence.
Yeah, and that's why he's been wide receiver 22 in fantasy points per game over his last 4 games. He's had at least 20. He has had a reception of at least 22 yards in 3 straight games, but yet he hasn't cleared 55 receiving yards. So when you think about Jalen Waddle, big play receiver, there's some hope. You saw what Zay Flowers did versus the Steelers last week, but because he's their big, and Jalen Waddle can actually get you a touchdown, whereas Zay Flowers doesn't do that so much. There's hope there, but definitely be weary of that when starting Waddle.
10 more to go, 21 through 30. We got a question here. Guillotine. Final 4 PPR flex, Wandale, Kittle, Waddle, Harvey, or swing big with Jefferson.
I don't think I would swing big with Jefferson. I mean,
Jefferson's like the anti-guillotine.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know what he's saying, swing big. Like when you only have 4 and every team's a super team, you sort of got to like go for it a little bit here. But I don't know if he's.
I would take Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, Waddle or Wandale Robinson for me. Maybe if it's. I wonder if it's only one. I will say this. I feel. Again, in guillotine, like you're looking for floor, so I feel like you feel the best about Wandale and Waddle's, target share.
Guillotine, I'm probably going Waddle here.
No TJ Watt expected for the Steelers. The Steelers play a ton of man coverage, which Jalen Waddle destroys.
No TJ Watt is big for somebody like Tua.
Oh,
that is big.
There's no question.
They have good depth on the defensive line, but still, TJ Watt out does not help.
No.
Last 10 to go with the wide receiver ranks, 21 through 30. We can have a bounce back week for the Eagles. Devontae Smith, Matthew?
I sure hope so. Look, here's the positives, right? He's had 3 straight games with at least 8 targets, 26% target share in that stretch. And now you've got the Raiders with a backup quarterback coming east for a 1 o'clock game. They are allowing the 3rd highest catch rate to opposing wide receivers, the Raiders are. They've given up at least 33 fantasy points to wide receivers in all but 3 games they've played this year. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, but should both have a big day. I think Jalen Hurts has a monster game today. After all the talk and after last week, I think he's the schedule just works out in his favor that he's getting to play a home game against Las Vegas after getting embarrassed on national TV against the Chargers.
The problem with Jalen Hurts fantasy-wise, a monster game could be 2 tush pushes for rushing touchdowns and not spreading the wealth to his wide receivers.
Correct.
Well, then that means Saquon will have to have had a big game, too, if it's not the receivers and they get to the end zone.
Murph, Doggy Dog, FF pregame, 32 leagues is insane, Barry.
Yeah.
Seconded. I need some serious help here, man.
Too much.
Half-point PPR pick 2, Devontae Smith, Terry McLaurin, Christian Watson, Devin Neal.
I'm going to go with McLaurin and Devin Neal. We've talked about both guys. Again, I think both guys have the best combination of matchup and opportunity here.
Christian Watson gets an elite defense in Denver. Devontae Smith also has been a little overshadowed by A.J. Brown, looking a lot more like A.J. Brown.
Yeah, for whatever it's worth, I have McLaurin at 21 and Devontae Smith at 24 among my wide receivers. So definitely McLaurin, and then we've talked about Devin Neal a decent amount too. Just, a lot of work and a good matchup without any competition.
Final wide receiver to highlight in our rankings, Jacoby Myers has been finding his footing in this Jaguars offense.
He's been great. He has a rapport with Trevor Lawrence. He's the wide receiver that you want in this offense now. Surprised DraftKings only has him at 50.5 receiving yards. That speaks more to game script and the fact that ETN is in for 78.5 rushing yards. But still, if you have to start one Jags wide receiver, it's Jacoby Myers over Brian Thomas Jr.
Does that speak a little to Trevor Lawrence also?
A little to Trevor Lawrence, yeah. He's been a little inconsistent, but he's in the best form of his season right now.
Tight end rankings, and like I mentioned, the hype machine for Harold Fannin has been there. He's all the way up to your top 5, Matthew.
Yeah, listen, since week 7, he's been the 5th best tight end in fantasy on a points per game basis. Since week 7, Trey McBride, the only tight end with a higher target share than Harold Fannin Jr., and so you're like, okay, this guy's going to get a lot of work. Well, why do I bring that up? Because tight ends that have seen at least 6 targets against your Bears, George, are averaging over 13.5 fantasy points per game. One of my shot-for-shots was Fannin, top 5 tight end. Putting on my rankings, I'm putting my money where my mouth is.
Bears secondary has been beat up. Some bad news this week. Kyler Gordon, their nickel corner, on IR, out for the rest of the regular season. I'm flexually frustrated. Harold Fannin or Jacoby Myers? That's a good one.
I think it's Harold Fannin. Yeah, I would take Harold Fannin. I think that he has more scope for a bigger game, just given that the respective spreads in both these games. The fact that Jacoby Myers could play well and still be 4 for 47 with no touchdowns, whereas Harold Fannin, I think that what he showed last week, even though it's not going to be sustainable, he can be significantly reduced and still have an excellent day.
Okay.
Just behind Fannin at number 5, Mark Andrews, and this has much to do with the player, more so with the matchup when you're facing the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, because he hasn't had his type of season that he's usually having, but a couple weeks ago versus the Bengals, he caught 4 of 6 targets for 47 yards, and that don't seem like a lot. But when you think about the fact that Isaiah Likely had 95, that just goes to show you these Bengals aren't good versus tight ends. I could actually make an argument that Likely could be in that 5 spot where Barry has Andrews ranked.
Right.
So, look, last 5 games, the Bengals have allowed 124 receiving yards average per game in 5 straight games. That's a hell of a sample size right there.
It's hard to do.
That is hard to do. And you know when they get near the goal line, Lamar's going to look for Likely, Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many other good games this weekend that this one hasn't gotten enough build-up. This is a massive game. Ravens-Bengals. The Ravens lose this, that's close to season done for them. The Bengals lose this, it is completely over. Like, they mathematically can still win the division. They got like a 4 or 5% chance there. But the Ravens lose this, it's just about curtains on the season. And Lamar Jackson out of the playoffs, it's be pretty stunning if they fall to 6-8.
Especially where they were preseason.
Yeah, that was Super Bowl favorites.
Preseason.
Crazy.
How about after week 1, they go down 0-1 and people are like, oh, it's cool, it's the Bills, you know?
Yeah.
Close game.
3 quarters into Baltimore-Buffalo week 1, I thought, all right, well, the Ravens are just like this year's Oklahoma City Thunder. It's like just over for the league. Like, they were just moving the ball so efficiently, and they lose that game, and then they lose to Detroit 2 weeks later, and then Lamar goes down. Now it's just it's a disaster.
Really is.
Yeah.
So Lawrence was saying maybe Likely ahead of Andrews, but you got Likely behind Andrews, just outside the top 10. What's the thesis there, Matthew?
They just seem to like Mark Andrews more. He just plays more snaps, runs more routes. You know, the veteran presence. They look.
So it's a volume play.
It's a volume play. Yeah.
And we got Likely at 14 at Cincinnati. And either option, if you're looking for a tight end to start based on the 124 receiving yards per game in the last 5 weeks for the Bengals to opposing tight ends, both guys, you would smash that start button this week. All right, let's get to part of the show that's always flawless.
Yeah, exactly.
Certainly the most
Haven't mastered
troubling.
the art through 14 weeks, but maybe week 15 is the week.
Get the
Flip cup
electronics.
Yep, watch out for the electronics.
time. Make sure to Matthew
Must be
proof it.
mindful of said electronics.
Trying to figure out who my touchdown guy was. Can't remember. Have to think about that.
You know who it was? Andre Yoshevich.
I got a feeling he plays for the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, here we go. Yeah.
Here we go.
Bang!
This is sad.
This is brutal.
Come on, fellas. Come on. No.
There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
Wow.
There we go.
There we go. All right. Matthew goes last. Another shameful showing for
I
you
love
blokes.
the cheatler.
The cheater. That one's fair. That one's accurate. All right, where do we go?
So I'm going to go first. I'm going to go with Nico Collins
All right.
here. Only scored twice in his last 4 games, but the Cardinals have allowed multiple receiving touchdowns in 3 of their last 4 games. We just saw big shot Puka Nacua go for 2 against them in Week 14. I think it's Nico's time score against these here Cardinals.
Okay, I'm going to take Derrick Henry up against the Bengals. Bengals bottom 3 rush defense in the NFL. And in a game with a total of 51.5, I think Derrick Henry will get goal line carries.
I got Kyron Williams, and I know Blake Corum's become a thing in this Rams offense. Kyron has 8 red zone rushing touchdowns this season, highest game total of the week. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think the Rams are going to score at least 3 touchdowns on offense. Kyron Williams will be one of them.
And give me Javonte Williams tonight. You may see this in the 3-play that I give out later tonight on Football Night in America. But, you know, as home favorites, Javonte Williams has just been nothing short of fantastic around the goal line. I do think he gets into the end zone against a Vikings defense that's been a bottom 12 run defense over the last 4 weeks.
No, Nico
And there
in
goes
the
Nico
house.
there. He just held up 2 fingers, so I guess he going to get 2 touchdowns today. That's what it looks like to me. So.
You can barely fit their winning streak on one hand. Houston's won 5 straight.
They
and 8
rolling.
and 5. One of the hottest
rolling.
teams in the AFC. Best fans in the league. Of course, our producer, Steven.
Unbelievable that he's run this.
Comes
Jags,
back
Jets.
with this. Jags and Jets. Who doesn't want to see this?
Why are we watching
swag
Brian
wars.
Thomas Jr.?
It's outrageous.
Get the wide receiver 1 up there for the Jags.
Lamar Jackson's about to play Joe Burrow. Josh Allen's playing Drake May. Why are we looking at Brian Thomas Jr. signing autographs?
It's the first game. This logically makes sense. We got the Jets at the Jags and Brian Thomas Jr., who we just showed video of, the first player. So how many beers for Beer Goggles, scale of 1 to 5, as you're just denigrating our fearless leader behind the scenes, Jay? How many beers to start Brian Thomas Jr.?
14 beers and a glass full of absinthe. No, he's going to go 3 beers for Brian Thomas Jr. He's only set a 45.5 receiving yards on DraftKings, but there is still upside. And also, he looked a lot more like Brian Thomas Jr. last week against the Colts, making some highlight catches, playing with his bit more renewed swagger, but still 3 beers for Brian Thomas Jr. Probably not going to be a ton of volume.
Lawrence, how about Edna Mitchell? 2 weeks ago, monster game. Last week, not so much for the Jets.
Damn, I said 3.5. 3.5. Probably should be 4. But look, you mentioned that good game he had a couple weeks ago. Last week, though, caught only 1 of 6 targets for 24 yards. It's just, when you get a bad team with a rookie quarterback, you don't want to trot out one of the receivers unless it's a superstar receiver like we're doing with Justin Jefferson. So 3.5 beers for Adonai.
How about Breece Hall, Matthew? How many beers there?
I'd want 3, which for a normal, 2.5 on your way to 3. Again, I'm impervious to beer, but for most people, that would start feeling pretty buzzed because it's outside my top 20. Jaguars allow the fewest rush per game to running backs so far this season. Jets have the second lowest implied team total for the week. So honestly, there's nothing here that tells you this is going to be a good game environment. And Breece Hall, since week 10, he's averaging 3.5 yards per carry and has only 1 game. For whatever reason, they don't throw to the running back. He's got 1 game in that stretch with a double-digit target share. Now the hope here is that Brady Cook does dump off. I think he's kind of a dump-off artist, so maybe Breece Hall PPR scams his way to a useful day. But I'm nervous about it against this Jags defense. I think the Jets may have just completely given up. 2.5 beers. He's my running back 22.
2 teams that may have given up as well. Commanders at Giants. Terry McLaurin, how many beers, Jay?
NFC showdown. I'm going to go 1 beer for Terry McLaurin. We've seen that he has a rapport with Marcus Mariota. We saw that in the Sunday night game against the Broncos, where Terry McLaurin looked excellent. So I think that he can perform against the Giants secondary. That certainly is not so imposing.
Only 1 beer to start Scary Terry. How about Debo for you, Lawrence?
2.5. You know, it's decent. He's got a good rapport with Mariota as well, but he's only caught 9 of 13 targets for a total of 91 yards since Terry McLaurin's return. It's looking like Debo needs to get you that touchdown to really pay off right now.
Wandale going to pop off? How many beers for you, Matthew?
Yeah, just 1.5 beers. I do think so. I think Wandale should have a pretty good game against my terrible Commanders. No team allows more yards to the slot than the Washington Commanders. Obviously, Wandale runs a lot of routes from the slot. 28% target share from Jackson Dart this season. That is a team high on the Giants. At least 8 targets in 4 of the 5 games for Wandale Robinson. So I'm his wide receiver 14. Like, it's basically 1.5 beers. It's kind of like just being social. Just being like, hey, what's up?
Nice.
Yeah, sure. I'll suck this down. It doesn't affect me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very believable.
Yeah. Totally.
Week 18, we're getting the breathalyzer, and that's hour 2 of the show.
That.
After the awards.
I will absolutely do that. I will at the rap party.
Make hashtag breathalyze Barry a thing trending.
Laid out.
Yeah. Impervious to beer.
Yep.
I told my wife about it, and because she remembers the incident. She's like, "That was a long time ago. Your liver's shot now." But
it's like Phillip Rivers coming back.
Exactly.
Not the same. Not the same.
I can't wait till we put that side by side on the show soon.
It'll be a good watch. Browns at Bears. Remains to be seen if this will be a good watch or not, as the Browns are 7.5-point dogs. Quinshon Judkins, a lot of people starting him. How many beers, Jay?
0 beers for Quinshon.
0?
Yeah.
You're very impervious to beers.
Yeah, exactly. He's set 77.5 rushing yards on dropping it. He just gets so much volume. Also, we saw a little bit of receiving work against the Titans, too. We had a 58-yard reception against Tennessee last week. So, Quinshon Judkins, I'm starting him without fear. No fear in starting Quinshon Judkins. 0 beers.
A lot of fear the first, call it 13 weeks, if you were a running back going up against the Browns defense. They had a great rushing defense. And then the Tony Pollard experience happens last week. So now, if you're starting DeAndre Swift, how many beers would you need, Lawrence?
2.5. There's some fear there because I feel like the Tony Pollard thing possibly is an anomaly. You got Kyle Monangai there, and I feel like in this type of game, they're going to probably want to run Kyle Monangai more. However, DeAndre Swift still getting those double-digit touches every game, so you still got to have him in that flex spot.
And he's had good fantasy performances, also based on the receiving work that he gets out of the backfield. Last player that we're looking at in this game, Caleb Williams, maybe a super flex league if you're thinking about starting him, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm actually starting him in a super flex league or 2, so I'm a little bit nervous about Caleb Williams. 3.5 beers is the answer for me. I'm at QB 16. Look, Browns have the number 1 ranked pass defense, 3rd highest pressure rate. They're going to get after Caleb Williams. And Caleb hasn't had a game with 240 passing yards since week 8. He's been under 15 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 as the Bears have gone to a run-heavy approach, which is what I think they do today against Cleveland. I think you see a lot of DeAndre Swift, a lot of Kyle Monangai, and not a lot of Caleb Williams throwing the ball. Again, QB 16. I'd want 3.5 beers. I'd want to have a normal person feeling pretty like, okay, why not? Let's give it a shot.
Last week it was the tale of 2 games. Look, awful first half. Second half, some jaw-dropping throws, and then the back-breaking interception.
Yeah, it was tough
to end the game.
Packers.
And we got the Packers on the road this week, going a mile high to Denver.
Yes, sir, they do.
Jordan Love, your guy. So, 0 beers, 1 beers? How many beers to start him, Jay?
3 beers for Jordan Love. I think that he is a better player in real life than he is as a fantasy producer, just because the Packers do like to run the ball so much. And also he has a brutal matchup against the Broncos. I think Jordan Love will be fine, but I think there's probably better options out there.
Okay, better player in real life than he is fantasy producer. Does that trope fit for Cortland Sutton? As the Broncos wide receiver there, how many beers do you think you'd need?
Yeah, you could say that, and I'm also going to go 3 beers from him. Look, last 3 games, 62, 62, and 59 receiving yards. He averages 59.5 receiving yards for the season. That's who Cortland Sutton is. You hope for the 20, 30-yard touchdown. That's what you need to pay off with him, so we'll put it right there in the middle at 3 beers.
Paying off the Broncos with R.J. Harvey. What are you eyeing there, Matthew?
Two beers. I think R.J. Harvey, you feel pretty good about him. He's my running back 15, right? So, like, his snap rate, 68% last week. Touches, 23 last week. Target share, 17%. All those were season highs. He's starting to take over this backfield. Since J.K. Dobbins has gone out, they continue to increase his workload. And the last 6 running backs that have faced Green Bay have all seen at least a 13% target share. So R.J. Harvey, who they use when they get in close, who's increasing his workload, getting a ton of work in what should be a decent matchup here against Green Bay. He's running back 15. Again, important game for the Packers in this one, but they're a bottom over. They're 18th against the run over the last 4 weeks. So it's not like they're imposing on defense from a run perspective.
Let's rip through this last game. Panthers going to the Big Easy, facing the Saints. All 3 of these questions are running back related. Uncle Rico Dowdle, Jay, to you.
Yeah, he does have a big rising chubby sneaking up from behind him, but still just 1 beer for Rico Dowdle. He is still the number 1 option in that run game, and the Panthers are 2.5-point favorites.
Clean handoff there with your chubby foreshadowing to Lawrence and Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah. Give me 2.5 beers. Shout out to him, 19 touches, 124 scrimmage yards and a touchdown. Last time they was out, I still think it's Rico's backfield, although the Chubbler he's made a little comeback.
How you diving into Devin Neal this week, Matthew?
Yeah, I am. Look, just 2 beers for Devin Neal for me on this one as well. 76% snap rate over the last 2 weeks. That's 7th among running backs. Last 3 weeks, I should say. Like, since Kamara's gone out, they've gone full on with Devin Neal. He's averaging over 18 touches a game. And then since week 10, the Carolina Panthers allow the 5th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. So you got a guy getting a big workload and a good matchup. Devin Neal, my running back 17. Yeah, I think just 2 beers. Again, which for me is not much.
We got a new record, but we did 5 games. That was 14 beers for Lawrence. Jay, the one impervious, just 8 beers. Matthew, 11.5. Pickup lines. Lawrence creeping back towards 500. Plus Money Jackson, 6 and 7, but he's only been picked up 5 times. Jay, yikes. Browns-esque performance, 4 and 10.
That's all right. They're still going to have the Defensive Player of the Year and the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'll kick us off here, George. My pickup line for you, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
I've been thinking about this. I think today Puka Nakua's receiving prop should be higher than anyone's in history because there's a couple things. One, pass funnel defense of the Lions. They have no Kirby Joseph, who's had a setback, no Brian Branch, no Terrion Arnold. The total in this one is a massive 54.5. Matthew Stafford going to be well incentivized to light up his old team, and also Puka Nacua coming off 7 for 167 in that game against the Cardinals, all of which he basically did in the first half. Last time he played a full game against the Lions, that playoff game that I think you might have been at a couple years ago, Matthew, Puka goes 9 for 181 against the Lions. I say he goes over 99.5 receiving yards today.
Over 99.5 receiving yards. Okay.
All right, I'm going to go with Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy to combine for 100 rushing yards versus your Commander, who have allowed the 5th most rushing yards to backs this season. Look, Devin Singletary did this last week by himself against the Patriots, their last game by himself. Jones and Mason, 128. Achane and Gordon, 165. Gibbs, Monty, 213. All these tandems just running the hell over your Commanders, Matthew. So I think Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy get 100 little measly yards. So much so, it moved from plus money to now it's minus 114 now. And I'm ashamed of that. You know I don't like betting like the common man here. So there you go.
Listen, I think they're both great lines. They're both awesome, but concern obviously, does it get to Devontae Adams? I'm going home with Lawrence.
Ooh, minus Money Jackson.
Getting 100 yards, rushing yards against
This is the minus the money that did it for him.
It's not easy.
How many kegs to start Rivers from old Maverick guy?
All of the kegs. 1.5.
Yeah.
1.5
That'd be a lot of keg stands, for sure.
A lot of keg stands,
I wonder any Superflex leagues, if there are people out there who are rolling the dice with old man Rivers.
Gotta be.
Someone out there, identify yourself in the chat. Matt Collins doesn't disappoint week to week, always barefoot, shirtless. I still think Matt Collins dressed as the Patriot was my favorite look of the season. But here he is getting ready for Patriots-Bills. What say you, Jay?
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's a phenomenal look. He's a national treasure, Matt Collins.
He's always entertaining.
Why wear pants?
Some are saying Matthew Berry in bar trivia, national treasure. 32 games, over 500. We don't have much time in the show, so let's get to these questions so Matthew can pad his lead. More passing yards, Caleb Williams or Shedeur Sanders?
Sanders.
Shedeur.
Caleb Williams.
More fantasy points, Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow?
Lamar.
More receiving yards, Nico or Michael Wilson?
Nico.
Brees or Travis Etienne?
Etienne.
Give me Brees.
Receiving yards, Lad McConkey, Xavier Worthy?
McConkey.
Fantasy points, Josh Allen, Drake May?
Josh Allen.
Receiving yards, McLaurin, Wandale?
Wandale.
McLaurin.
Devontae Smith, Brock Bowers, receptions?
Devontae.
Brock Bowers.
Passing yards, Bo Nix, Jordan Love?
Love.
Knicks.
Fantasy points, Puka, Jahmyr Gibbs?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Puka.
Receiving yards, Olave, Tut?
McMillan.
Olave.
Rushing yards, Taylor, KW3?
Taylor.
Passing yards, Brock Purdy, Cam Ward?
Brock Purdy.
Receiving
Cam.
yards, Jet or Pickens?
I'm going to go with Pickens.
Pickens.
Fantasy points, Waddle or DK Metcalf?
Waddle.
DK.
Yeah, you know what? DK Metcalf.
We got 10 seconds to go. Brought it strong
It's
to the
closing
house.
time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. For Lawrence, George, and Jay, I'm Matthew. Go get yourself a win. We'll see you back for Week 16 after you've crushed it. Peace out.